Wait, is my makeup alright? Fuck. I think I fucked it up.
You're good. You're
Okay,
good.
Okay, I'm good. Okay.
Hey guys, it's Chris and welcome back to another Game of Thrones Season 8 video. And this time we're back with Season 8 character predictions with my old partner in crime, Val from Geek.
Hi!
Welcome back, Val. It's only been 2.5 years.
Do you remember me, everybody?
She's still alive. She lives.
Yes.
And I'm sporting the Geek t-shirt, you know. And she's, look, and she damn... Yeah, she did it. She put off the SmokeScreen t-shirt. She knew I was going to ask about it. So,
we did it, yeah. Aren't we cute?
Oh. Anyway, we're going to continue as we did back in Season 6.
Yeah.
We're going to continue with our character predictions. One set, one on my channel, one on her channel. So this will be all about the Hound. And we just recorded one on her channel for... Who do we do? Jaime Lannister. So let's jump into it. Val, what's going to happen to the Hound in Game of Thrones Season 8?
Wait, are you putting in your intro now? So the Hound, my god, he's been with us from episode 1. The Hound is one of those characters that no one knew would become this important, okay? And I love the Hound. I would say could be one of my favorite characters. I mean, he's pretty cool, he's pretty awesome. Hateful as hell, but
he cares. He just has a rough exterior. That's it.
And he has a huge count of the C word. I mean, I don't know if you can say it now, but
you mean
if
cunt?
you guys wanted to do... Yeah. Yeah, if you wanted to do a drinking game with that...
You're a talker. Listening to talkers makes me thirsty.
And take shots every time he says that while he's with the Brotherhood Without Banners.
That's not a bad idea. I bet that already happens.
Let's talk about where we last saw the Hound. We last saw the Hound at the Dragon Pit. He was there carrying the White around and he did the demonstration. He killed the White and something very interesting happened at the Dragon Pit.
Yes.
As you might remember.
Yes. This line has been bugging me ever since it came out. When I know you're referring to when he walked up to the mountain and said all this shit about, you know, what have they done to you, blah, blah, blah. But the most important thing is you know who's coming for you. And when I first saw it, I thought he said, you know what's coming for you. So this has always perplexed me, like who? Why would he always have known who's coming for him? So it's got something to do with that fire connection, I think, you know, because the whole story about him getting pressed in the fire because he played with his brother's toy. Definitely a fire theme going on with the Hound now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, well, for that line, we have to take it with a grain of salt as well because it could have just been the writers writing it funny. I do know that the actor in a behind-the-scenes video kind of implied that what he said just meant him. But again, by the time that the actor was doing that recording, he didn't have the scripts for Season 8, so he wouldn't know exactly. Maybe that was his interpretation. We gotta be careful with actors' interpretations because sometimes they don't get things right about their own characters.
It seems to be there's like two schools of thought, right? There is Cleganebowl, you know, people who want to see Cleganebowl happen, him go after his brother and kill him or whatever finally. And then there's the people who want to see him kind of just forget about his brother, although he's still involved in war now because of the White Walkers. He kind of got away from violence, he got sucked back into it, but they want to see him kind of just forgive his brother and live his life and not let his hatred like rule him, right? But I think it can be both.
Definitely, I agree with that. It can be both. Then going back to the fire thing, because that is the main theme in the Hound's storyline, it started obviously when he was a child and he got pushed into the flames, his face into the coals. And then I think the next thing, I mean, we don't know exactly what happened throughout his life, but the next thing that we know of is when he was at the Battle of Blackwater and something happened to him, okay? During that battle, there was fire everywhere and he had this like moment of like slow motion. He just started like tripping or something and he just couldn't take it anymore and he had to leave.
Yeah, so that's actually what I was going to say with the whole fire theme is the first real incident of him, what I've been calling freezing up, where he essentially freezes. He's been in a million battles. I mean, we pretty much can draw that over his lifetime, he's killed a lot of people. He's been in a lot of battles. Been around a lot of fires. I mean, there's fire everywhere in Westeros. They don't have light bulbs, so it's not, it's not uncommon for there to be torches and you guys got fireplace in his room, I'm sure, whatever. But it's like he froze up. And then we saw it again in season 7, Beyond the Wall, with the polar bear thing. Mm-hmm. He froze up again and it got Thoros killed, essentially. So at some point, he's not going to freeze up, is what I'm saying. At some point, exactly. He's going to use fire. And I think what we talked about earlier in our last video about Jaime, he could actually ignite his sword.
Yeah, exactly. He could be, if you guys watch the Jaime video, we talk about certain riders with flaming swords. What if the Hound is one of those riders and that's how he starts getting over his fear of fire? We don't know. But other than freezing when he sees fire, he's also had this connection to the Lord of Light. Alright, the entire time, and there's been speculation that maybe he got some sort of message when he was a kid, while his face was in the fire. Maybe that's why he's that afraid of fire. And then he obviously meets the Brotherhood Without Banners, who are worshippers of the Lord of Light, and he does complain about that, and it's my own luck that I get caught up with, like, fucking guys that are worshipping fire.
Bunch of fire worshippers.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Drink.
That's right.
But yeah, and then when they showed that scene of him looking into the fire and seeing things, to me, again, I don't know if it was the writing that wasn't as good as it could have been or as clear as it could have been, but it seemed to me like it wasn't a shocking thing for him to be able to see things in the fire. Like, he didn't seem super shocked to me. Like, when he was looking into the fire and seeing those things, he was just like, yeah, I'm seeing those things, that's what I'm seeing. So it kind of felt like he's already seen things before, but he's never wanted to admit it.
Yeah, that's interesting. That scene really, actually, that shocked me, that scene in season 7, when Thoros caught him over there and said, what do you see? He's like, fire, logs burning, whatever. And then he really takes a look and it's like, I don't know. I don't get the idea that he had seen something before. I like that idea, but I didn't get the idea from that scene anyway that he had seen something before. He looked like he was surprised as if something started to take shape. And of course, he saw the mountain shaped like an arrowhead, and he's essentially the one that led them where they needed to go. Now, what I found interesting is Thoros and Beric didn't see that because he's the one who led them beyond the wall, and then he said, he saw the mountain, said, we're close, and he turned around to Thoros, and he said, are you sure? And the Hound said, yes, I'm sure. This is where we're going.
Yeah.
So it's like, did Thoros and Beric not see that? Why is he special? And I made a separate video. This is a whole separate topic, I guess, but it's really interesting. I think that the fire thing, because, if you've watched my channel, I don't believe in gods in our story. I believe in magic, and there's one source, and there's different conduits. So I think looking in the flames is another way for kind of regular people to be able, I don't know if you have to be special in some way, I don't know, but to tap into that magical thing, almost what green seers can do all the time. So in other words, you're getting a little glimpse of what Bran would see all the time if you look in a fire. And that's how Melisandre does her magic. She doesn't know that, she attributes it to a god, but I think that's the idea. And of course, the Hound is not religious at all. He still went out after he saw the flames and read the flames. He still went out and tried to bury a dude and didn't even remember the prayer that the Seven had. So yeah. I thought that was funny. He's like, I forgot the fucking words, and he's just trying to bury the kids, So anyway, it's really, really cool, the whole fire theme, and it may come into play in the end game with his brother.
Yeah, and actually, let's remember that there's been a lot of connections between the Lord of Light and Bran, so the fact that you're connecting those two things of like Green seeing and seeing things in the fire could also be because of that connection to Bran as well.
As far as the whole, there can be both ways we talked about, right? We talked about he wants to go kill his brother. He literally told Brother Ray that hate kept him alive. But I think he's kind of moved beyond that now, and he wouldn't go necessarily after his brother. Like, for example, in the Dragon Pit scene in King's Landing, he could have pulled out a sword right there and tried to kill him. But he didn't. So it's like, I think they end up in King's Landing at some point or whatever, because I don't think Cersei will ever leave King's Landing. He will see an opportunity to kill his brother. And I really like the idea. Someone mentioned it. I'm not sure who it was, so I apologize. But I like the idea that he doesn't kill him because he wants to go, like he doesn't kill him because he hates him, but he kills him because he sees that he's not even his brother anymore. Qyburn's kept him alive as some white type zombie, and it's actually a mercy killing. I like that idea. So there you can have both, where you have Cleganebowl, but he actually forgave his brother and didn't let it rule him.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that for sure. And I also think that it can't just be like the whole plot for the Hound obviously can't just be to kill his brother. I mean, he even like the Brother Ray thing that you brought up, Brother Ray told him, you were brought back for a reason. I mean, he didn't actually die, but he was almost dead. And, you're here for a reason. There's a reason for the Hound to be here. And when he was fighting Beric, like, the Lord of Light, I guess, was looking over that, and he didn't let the Hound die. I want to talk about, because the Hound not only has a connection to fire, he has a connection to a lot of other characters in this show. Starting off with Sansa. A huge connection with Sansa from the very beginning, from the very first season. Sansa, the Hound has had something of a bit of a care for Sansa, and it's really showed. It really got up to the point of the Blackwater Bay when he wanted to take her to Winterfell. He didn't even want to ransom her. I don't know, maybe he did, but he didn't seem to be thinking of that. He just really honestly cared for Sansa, and he saved her when he was getting almost raped by the peasants of King's Landing during that revolt. And so he's been very attached to Sansa. Right before he started getting attached to Arya.
That's what I was going to say. He's definitely, I really look forward, one of my biggest things, and this kind of goes in the chronological order of what's actually going to happen in Season 8. He's going to Winterfell, obviously. He's going to reunite with Sansa and Arya, and that's a big thing. I know a lot of people, and I hate to even use this damn word, but people ship. People ship Sansa, right?
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast or whatever, but a lot of people think Tyrion and Sansa or whatever, but Sansa and the Hound in the books, people say the kiss that never happened. I don't know if I buy into that so much, but there was definitely thought of that. I don't know. But so the show didn't go there. But anyway, I really look forward to that interaction, and you saw him kind of light up in Season 7 when Brienne at the Dragon Pit said Arya was alive. And he kind of looked over like, cool, she made it, that type of thing. So I think what happened when he left her and last saw her will come back around. We'll get to that here at the end of this video as far as what we think is going to happen. Okay, let's kind of get in chronological order here just for a second. So we know he has to Winterfell. That's a given. I think we all agree they go... Bless you, Val. That's sorry. I think we agree they go south. They end up at King's Landing, and this is where we're talking about the kind of the target of opportunity with the mountain. One quick thing I want to say about the mountain, whether Cleganebowl happens or not, here's another thing that we mentioned on live streams quite a bit. The mountain is dead. I think he technically died, right? I mean, you see his face, he looks like a fucking zombie. Book's different a little bit. We don't know if he has a head, Sir Robert Strong, whatever. But with the wall now broken, and the magic is coming down, I call it leaking, into the Seven Kingdoms below the wall, the mountain could be a white at some point, anytime.
Yeah.
The Night King gets closer, people just turn anyway, regardless if he's close or not. At some point, that magic's going to get down there, and he may end up fighting a white brother, which kind of goes back into the idea of he's not really the mountain anymore, so why hold on to that hate?
Well, it does make a lot of sense, because he would have to use fire to kill his white brother, which is kind of like a mirror of what happened in their childhood. His brother using fire against the Hound.
I think that he will absolutely use fire. Whether he survives this or not is a different story, but I think he will use his fire either way, because even if the mountain doesn't turn into a white, or if he does, I mean, think about it. This guy is huge, he's armored, he's strong, stronger than he was when he was alive. So it's almost like that's the only way you can kill him. You're going to have to burn his ass down like the big-ass tree he is.
I think there's been foreshadowing, a lot of foreshadowing, for Sansa potentially becoming queen at the end of everything.
No.
Yeah. What? You don't like this theory, man?
I don't like it already. Please continue, but no.
Okay. All right. Let me tell you where I got this. This has been a lot of foreshadowing, I think, but one specific scene is when the Hound is talking to Sansa, and this scene seemed to have a purpose. You can kind of tell which scenes are part of which scenes move the plot forward. and which scenes are just there for foreshadowing, you know? And this scene where the Hound talks to Sansa, it seemed like there was no purpose to that dialogue other than foreshadowing in my head. And so in this scene, it's when right after the Hound has saved Sansa from almost getting raped, she apologizes for not thanking him right away, and Sansa ends up asking the Hound why he's so hateful, and then the Hound says, "You'll be glad of the hateful things that I do when you're queen." And yes, he does say, "And I'm the only thing standing between you and the king." Obviously, he was saying that because she was going to marry Joffrey at that point, but it could totally be foreshadowing of maybe the Hound becoming part of Sansa's Queensguard.
Ah, and Brienne could be the Lord Commander, as we mentioned in the Jaime video on your channel.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yes, go watch the Jaime video because we do talk about Brienne becoming the Lord Commander. But also, another thing that I wanted to tie into this is that what I was talking about Arya, because the Hound has been training Arya. And Arya, of course, she had her faceless man training and whatever. But what do you think, like, maybe, what if...
Yeah, so what if we got one?
What if Arya also becomes part of Sansa's Queensguard? Because we've already seen foreshadowing in Winterfell last season, where Arya was the executioner for Sansa, and this kind of could tie into her becoming Queensguard for Sansa. The Hound wouldn't have to protect both Sansa and Arya. Maybe he only has to protect Sansa, and then he trained Arya to also protect Sansa. You know? Maybe there's a whole connection between those three characters.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it makes me feel better about Sansa being queen, for sure. So, yeah, I don't think Arya needs any more training from anybody as far as... I mean, they obviously skipped the whole thing. They didn't do a Rocky montage of her training in Bravos, but she obviously trained with a lot more than sticks. So, I think to come full circle with the whole Arya storyline, she left him to die, and he was begging her to kill him. He wanted to be released from his, pain and all the anger and the hate. Obviously, he was in physical pain at the time. I mean, he just got his ass whipped by Brienne and pushed off a fucking mountain. Pushed off. That's ironic, right? So there's something to the idea that you could have this team up if there is a fight between him and his brother, Cleganebowl 2.0 technically. I know a lot of people have said that Arya may help with that. I've heard that rumor going around, or speculation, and I'm fine with that. But I do think that he uses fire to kill his brother. But I think he has some injury sustained during that battle or whatever. However he dies, he sustains some type of injury before he dies, so it's not like an immediate death. And then Arya remembers what the Hound actually taught her before going to Bravos. She remembers where the heart is, and that's how he goes out. Unfortunately, he has to go. Damn. I'm sad.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I'm. He's crying.
No, but I want him to. I really do. I want him to make it. I want him to make it and be at the end and be at peace and drink wine with Tyrion, Imp's Delight, and that's a possibility too. But I can't forget that scene where she walked away that time, but this time she doesn't, and she remembers where the heart is.
Yeah. What if? What if?
Another one. Yes.
Another one. What if the Hound has to kill Arya? Because she's the one with the sustained injury.
Oh.
It's flipped now. It's the Arya asking the Hound to kill.
I could see it, but you just want Arya to die. I don't know why, but you're one of the few people I know that actually wants Arya to die.
No, I want both Arya and the Hound and Brienne to be Sansa's Queensguard.
No, I think that's a good idea. No, I can see that. I can see it. I can't see Sansa being queen. I can see them being in the Queensguard or Kingsguard or the Targaryen Guard or whatever the fuck it is. But no, I mean, I can see that. I do want him to survive, but I don't know. It's almost like he needs to be at peace, and I do want him to make it. I guess either way would work. He either dies, so we don't have to deal with it anymore, but he dies doing something heroic, obviously, killing his brother, which saves somebody else, or whatever. It helps basically to defeat the enemies, which is now the Night King and Cersei. We'll talk about that later in the Tyrion video. But I think he is sitting there with the Imp's Delight with his friends. That would be cool if the Hound was sitting there with Tyrion, and they're talking about, you Lannister cunt, you Clegane bastard, and they're drinking Imp's Delight, because that's the way he shows his love, right? He shows love by cracking on people, busting their balls. That's the way he shows love. Anyway, that's my specific prediction for how the Hound will die. Is it circling back around to Arya, and she remembers what he taught her before becoming a badass faceless man warrior, and Mercy kills him through the heart with needle.
Well, yeah, I mean, that sounds awesome to me, and you know how much I love bringing up foreshadowing stuff, and I've got one piece of foreshadowing, maybe two, I don't know, but you know, when she's practicing her water dancing and the Hound finds her and she stabs him or tries to stab him, and then she can't get through because of the armor, and that could have been foreshadowing of her actually killing him in the end. And not only that, but also the Hound was on her list, and sure, she took him off the list, but maybe anyone who's on the list can't get off the list, you know, something like that. Like, they're just destined to be killed by Arya, whether she wants to or not.
Yeah, which of course makes you question everything about prophecy and destiny in the story. Is something destined, or are people making up their own shit and fulfilling theirs? Like the whole Maggie the Frog Cersei thing. She's living by the prophecy, therefore she's self-fulfilling the damn prophecy.
Yeah, exactly. And then the last thing I wanted to say about the Hound is his connection to Beric. All right, now we know that Beric, he has the power to bring someone else back with his last life. His last life has been mentioned a lot in the last season, and not only that, but when Beric told Jon that Jon and him had been brought back for a reason, right as he says that, the Hound walks into frame right next to Beric, and he starts talking to him. And I think they were trying to make that connection between what Beric said with the Hound. And after that, after they were done capturing the White and everything, Beric told the Hound, "We'll meet again." And of course the Hound said, "Fucking hope not." But, you know, just being the
Right.
Hound.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think you're on to something here. I did a separate video on this a long time ago, actually, about the Beric Kiss of Life thing. And also, to add to what you're saying about Beyond the Wall, remember the Hound's the one who actually said, "Be careful now, Beric, you're short a priest."
Yeah.
So this is, you know, he's the one who told him, "You're on your last life, buddy." So that was the video I made questioning, like, what is Beric still doing in the show? We'll talk more about him, I'm sure, in other videos. So that way, actually, we could get the shock of the Hound's death, but then he's back. You know, he comes back and does survive this whole
I
damn
would
thing.
love that. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, and I know people have said that there hasn't been any foreshadowing for Beric to have those powers, but I still think, I mean, he's a run for a reason. There's gotta be some sort of thing that he will do that is, you know, important and big, and something that, I mean, we haven't really seen Beric do anything special other than be brought back by the Lord of Light, and there's gotta be a reason. We know that Thoros had the power to bring Beric back. Now that Thoros is dead, maybe, you know, it would make sense, even if it hasn't been foreshadowed or anything, it would make sense if Beric is able to do it, especially if he can do it in the books. And people have been trying to figure out who he's gonna bring back. You know, there's been speculations about Arya, Sansa, because Lady Stoneheart, of course, like, you know, the Stark girls would be tied to Lady Stoneheart. People have been thinking maybe Dany has to commit a sacrifice, and then Beric brings her back. Maybe even Jon. I don't think Jon, I mean, no, it's not Jon. Okay, like, Jon has already been brought back. Yeah. Don't bring him back again.
Right. Yeah, that won't work. And I do agree you can't bring everybody back, but it does give you one more out. Like, you can have the shocking death of somebody, you know, Beric brings them back, or, you know, I don't know how that power works. Maybe he does the Hound, and the Hound then can do it to somebody else. I don't know. But I think Beric, you know, there's no reason other than that. There's really no reason for him to still be in this show. It could have been just a Hound and a group of dudes going up, and he joins them, and then the other ones, you know how the Brotherhood is. They kind of fade in the background. You don't even know who they are. You know, you could say, well, he could have brought Thoros back, but he didn't. That's fair. That's fair. He doesn't have the power, doesn't know about it, sure. But there's been too much connection between the Hound and Beric in the show, anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. It's just the connection between the Hound and Beric is very strong, and I mean, and then the Hound already has the connection to Sansa and Arya. If you guys wanted to make the connection between Beric and the Stark girls, he could make that through the Hound. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. Something's definitely going to happen. I think they're definitely going to meet again, and I would love to see Beric bring back the Hound.
Beric was also the first one sent off by Ned Stark, Hand of the King, to kill the Mountain.
Oh.
So there's definitely something there with all that Beric stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
So anyway, that's our ideas for the Hound for Game of Thrones Season 8. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Val, thank you for coming back to the channel. It's been, just again 2 years.
Yeah, just keep throwing shade.
But no, I'm celebrating. Thank you, Val. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you, man.
I don't know what we're doing next. The next 2 characters are, but they will be the same thing. We'll do a set, one on Val's channel because Geek, and one on SmokeScreen as well.
Yeah, we'll try to get through as many characters as possible.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. Yeah, we didn't have a set number this time.
Yeah.
We're just going to do as many as possible, I guess. Until we run out of main characters, because we're not going to get down to, like, the red shirts, I don't think.
Yes.
But anyway, let us know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for all your support, especially the guys on Patreon. As usual, be sure to subscribe to get everything, and click that damn notification bell twice, or you still won't be notified when I drop a new video. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Notification bell, guys. Notification bell.
And as usual, be sure to subscribe.
Just kidding. Shove it in there.
That's what she said.